Wrestling with Wrestling's Past and Present.
How old were you?
I was -3.
JR is trying to contain Jim Ross.
McFlurry,
It's Mick Foley. Do you see any of the aggro crag? Was any of that left over?
No, unfortunately not.
No?
I'm taking some of that home.
Definitely not is the barn burner that Leaf Cassidy and Tiger thing was, but we'll leave that there.
We digress.
God, I hope that storyline ends soon.
And 6 to 8 weeks later, they mail you a freaking magnet.
Yep. You may know him as the Red Rooster.
Because it's still real to me, damn it.
He kept making out with his wife. It was weird. So then, I'm waiting for them to put the Selena Vega on a pole match.
And I mean, Big E's got Whale performing in his entrance, so I feel like
Wale.
Wale. I don't listen to. Okay, well, I don't listen to him, so I apologize to Wale.
This is in the mail, my good sir. No, it wasn't.
I feel like Vince is just gonna have them team together and be like, have them called Woo Bro. Like they're just gonna be the Woo Bros. Like, anyway.
Giving us a reason to come here and listen to ourselves talk.
Absolutely,
and then you can listen to us too.
Strap on and balls only on Wrestling Past and Present.
This is Gangrel, the Vampire Warrior, and you're listening to Wrestling with Wrestling's Past and Present.
This is Wrestling with Wrestling's Past and Present. I'm Tim Kurt.
I'm Roland Fulis.
And I'm Mongo.
And we are here, episode 92, a very special episode. First and foremost, we both want to wish Tim and Karlee a happy 5th anniversary. Tim is away celebrating his anniversary, so the episode is going to be a little bit weird this week, where I think Tim is he's still going to edit it for us. So I assume from what I've heard and what he's told us, I think he's just going to throw his picks in at the end. So that way he doesn't have to do a ton of work to put it together for everybody, but he's still dedicated enough to, on his anniversary weekend, to edit the show and get it up for us, because we all know the disaster that happened last time when he left it in our hands when he was broken by WCW. We royally screwed it up. So
yeah, but we don't talk about the clusterfuckery of Mongo's editing skills. I mean, the audio sounded good, but then trying to get the audio out to our listeners, not so much.
Then there were platform delays. Like, it was on one platform, but it wouldn't go on the edge. It was a freaking mess.
Yeah, so thankfully, Tim, enjoy your vacation. Karlee, thank you for letting him still get some work done on the podcast. That's what it is. It's support. We couldn't do this without our significant every single one of them, whether they support us on camera, off camera, yada, yada, yada. Like Roland said, Amber making all the amazing pictures for the episode, we wouldn't be where we are without them. So enjoy your anniversary, guys. And Karlee, we appreciate you letting us steal Tim for a couple hours every week to shoot the shit. And we'll get back to a regular format next week while Tim's at his undisclosed location and enjoying some time off.
Yeah, it's like Mongo said, you have 3 knuckleheads just chatting it up, and you have, thankfully, three women that back us 100% on that, whether it's, recording, or in Mongo's case, gallivanting to different shows and stuff like that, or, going on the cruise. He definitely gets to do a little bit more than we do, for the most part, when it comes to some of the wrestling stuff, but a little jealous, side note there. But, it's good to have support. Like Mongo said, we couldn't do it without them. And I don't think, obviously we mention it, but I don't think that we actually truly thank them enough. So yes, thank you to all 3 of them for being very supportive of all of our endeavors. And as we grow, they're helping us, grow with us by supporting us even more. So definitely.
Absolutely. And we look forward to having you back, Tim, because we need the 3-man gang, because we are just one man.
I don't want to know who's the gender, and I guess Tim can be he has the great idea for gender, so we'll let him be gender, I guess.
Tinder on Tinder, baby. We're making that a thing. It's happening.
Yeah, right. No kidding. Hey, you never know. All it takes is Vince to hear one stupid fucking idea and be like, "Hey, that's great." It's like, no, it's not. But hey, in the world of WWE nowadays, any stupid idea could show up on TV the following week. And I'm not saying that Tim's idea is stupid. I'm saying they've shown worse on TV. Absolutely. So you never know. So let's get into it. Like we said, we're episode 92. We're going to give our predictions for All Out, coming at you this Sunday. Streaming sort of on BR or not on BR, or it sounds like from what we've it sounds like Fight is where you're going to be able to watch this, or other platforms besides BR at this point.
I don't understand. Okay, I'm going to put this out there. Bleacher Report Live, you couldn't have picked the worst possible fucking week to sunset and switch over. Like, you couldn't have done this in September after the pay-per-view when we still have 2 more months. Like, really, that was just dumb. So it sounds like BR Live is completely gone. I tried logging in. There's nothing there. Everything merged over in the middle of August. It's the Bleacher Report app, which is the black and white app. However, it's only on like 2 devices right now. So you pretty much have to do it on your phone and cast it. However, Fight TV, thank you. They came to the rescue. So in the US, you can buy the US version for $49.99. Heard through the grapevine that if you use the VPN, you might be able to get it in the international version. Again, I don't know. So if you lose $20 doing that, don't blame me. And then I believe if you have traditional cable, you can order it. I just don't understand why it wasn't. The CM Punk's return, like, they own HBO Max. It should be on HBO Max. Do like Peacock, like we said off air. This is probably going to be one of the most eyes on the card in a long time, because we know CM Punk's actually there in Chicago, and this is why the exclusive deals need to go. Like, I hope they kick BR Live to the curb after this, because that was stupid. What a way to almost ruin a pay-per-view.
Well, and that was the thing. Like, at one point, from what I heard, this is going to be exclusively streamed, not even offered to pay-per-view companies. At one point, that was the idea. Like, I don't know. Like you said, I'm hoping that some of the people that can't get the certain apps are able to stream it through cable or satellite or something, because if not, this like I said in our group chat, this has like the makings of a total mess. Like, just like you said, how do you have 4 pay-per-views a year? Like, how do you pick that weekend, or like leading up to that weekend, to be like, we're gone, we're on this new thing now, but it's only on X amount of devices and nobody can find the goddamn thing. Like, I don't get it. I really don't. And the timing of it is just horrible. So,
yeah. So hopefully we can watch it, so we can at least go over our predictions. And, I did post earlier in the socials, if you guys want to play on, which so far a lot we have almost 20 responses. So it seems like you guys are really taken to it. So, fill out the forum. This is not for anything. It's just for fun in this one. But I think it's just a fun way to play along, because unlike WWE, this isn't predictable. This is where I feel like I know you roll, and I can see your face. We're probably going to him and haw on some of these matches, so bear with us, because the way their booking goes, they can go either way, and I'll be happy with a lot of these things.
Yeah, if you guys don't like the back and forth format of our show, sometimes you might just want to skip to the end to hear Tim's clip at the end of who he picked, and then go to the end. Like, we're going to go back and forth, I have a feeling. But I mean, that's what this is. I mean, I would rather it be shooting back and forth versus like, oh, this is going to happen, or this is going to happen, or like, it's definitely a strong, stark contrast to SummerSlam.
Absolutely.
So, with that being said, there's one match on the buy-in, the pre-show. It is going to be the Best Friends, Orange Cassidy, Chuck Taylor, and Wheeler Yuta, and Jurassic Express, Jungle Boy Luchasaurus with Marco Stunt, taking on the HFO Hardy Family Office of Matt Hardy, Private Party, Isaiah Cassidy, Mark Quinn, and the Hybrid 2, Angelico and Jack Evans in a 10-man tag. This has the makings of just a clusterfuckery of just bodies everywhere, and there's a lot of talent in this ring. So I imagine there's going to be some interesting spots in this match.
No, I agree. I think this is good on the pre-show, because it's just going to be kind of a let fans file in, put some stars on there to have fun. It was originally, I believe, the 21 Women Battle Royal until the Andrade postponement, I believe. So I'm kind of glad, if anything was relegated to the pre-show of this match. I could have seen also the Paul White QT Marshall match being there too, but it's a different story. I think prediction-wise, I think I'm just going to go Best Friends, Orange Cassidy. I think it just makes sense to start the crowd happy. I feel like if you start with shenanigans, with a Hardy Family Office winning, I don't think it's just going to be the right vibe to start. And I think they're really setting some down with Matt Hardy breaking again. He's been kind of teasing like him being broken. So I wonder if they're going to go back to Broken Bat, because he did say in an interview earlier this year that the only reason he kind of killed off that gimmick was because without crowd reaction, it really doesn't work. And if you've never seen the Broken Saga, go back and watch it on YouTube. It's probably one of the best things he's ever done.
Yeah, I agree. You have to get the fans going here. I mean, not that they won't already be going, because again, it is Chicago. It's CM Punk's first match in 7 years. So I imagine this building's going to be rocking from the get-go, but you don't want to kill that steam either. So I think you're 100% right. I think it has to be the best friends and Jurassic Express going over in this match. And like I said, a lot of talent in this match, so I assume there's going to be some nice high spots and everything else. But I don't see the point, or I don't see the reasoning if the Hardys were to win, or Hardy Family Office were to win this match. And then the whole broken thing, it would be cool if Jeff Hardy gets released from his contract, or his contract runs out, he runs away or whatever. It would be nice if he could, join up and then, maybe do Brother Nero with Broken Matt or something. It would just be nice. I feel like when you have the Hardys separated, they're not the same. It's just, for whatever reason, Matt's never had that single steam that Jeff has had. He's been close, but he's never really had that steam until the broken gimmick. So, but the broken gimmick also got better when Jeff Hardy was involved too. So again, it's preference at this point, but yeah, I just don't see the point in the Hardy Family Office winning this. So I'm agreeing with you 100%, Mongo.
Yeah, no, I think WWE knows the room better. I think they know the room. I think they know that Orange Cassidy's still white hot. He's in the position he should be right now, where he having the fun matches, once in a while getting the big matches. But this is a good spot for him. This is also good, like you said, spotlight, because he's going to do something crazy because they get the crowd going. Like he's probably going to do like a dive off the top rope into the group, because that's like one of their favorite things to do.
With his hands in his pockets.
Yep.
I would imagine. So yeah, and then we don't know exactly what order these are going to go in, but we're just going by the Wikipedia page. The next match is the 21-woman Casino Battle Royale. I'm going to quickly name off everybody just so that way the names are out there. You got Nyla Rose, Thunder Rosa, The Bunny, Big Swole, Julia Hart, Tay Conti, Diamante, Penelope Ford, Red Velvet, Akira Shida, Emi Sakura, Jade Cargill, Kira Hogan, Abaddon, Layla Hirsch, Lillian King, Rebel, Jamie Hayter, Anna Jay, Rio, Sky Blue, and then one other woman to be determined. I don't know who that woman is. I know there's a lot of speculation that it could be the former Ruby Riott. I've heard could be one of the people. I don't know if that's who that's going to be. I don't know if you've heard anything else, Mongo, but that's the biggest name I can think off the top of my head that I've heard that's going there.
I mean, she's had some cool vignettes on her Instagram, teasing something, but not really what. And I think that is cool. Like her making a debut in Chicago, her gimmick is like a punk rock. Chicago's big punk rock town. I think it'll be a good pop. I think she's going to be the Joker. That's kind of what the speculations lead to. I know we reported a while ago that she had put pen to paper. They were just waiting on a time to debut, and her 90-day clause just ended this week. So I think it'd be a good time for Ruby Soho to show up.
Right. That being said, I don't think she wins the match. I think that would be, squashing 20 other women that have been in the company longer. And no offense to, Ruby, but I feel like you have to go with, one of the women that's been there from the get-go. And really there's maybe about 5 that stick out to me on this thing.
Hey, just one. Just kidding.
Well, no, I'm just saying there's 5 in my mind that you can kind of narrow it down to. That's going to be one of these 5. I'm only going to pick one. I'm just saying, but in my mind, you can't look past Nyla Rose, because for whatever reason, they're still pushing her sort of. She's had like Cesaro start-stop kind of things. And then you have Thunder Rosa, who has a lot of crowd behind her and stuff like that. You also have Ty Conti, and then you have the returning Anna Jay as well. I think you could see that happening. And then one person that, in all honesty, I don't know if it makes sense yet, but you still have Hikaru Shida waiting to get back into title picture. So like in my mind, it's between those 5. Again, you're picking a 1. You get a 1 in 21 chance. So I think it just comes down to, in my mind, we just saw, we've seen Ty Conti and Anna Jay, and they just came back, so like I want to pick Ty Conti, but I just don't think, I think that for whatever reason, Thunder Rosa keeps sticking out to me. And I feel like that Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa have some unfinished business still. So I feel like that would be a very good match. And I'm not saying that Chris Statlander can't beat Britt Baker, but I don't want to go too far ahead. I'm just saying that for that, I'm going to pick Thunder Rosa.
It's too funny. You stole my Thunder Rosa, because that's who I'm also picking, is Thunder Rosa. Same thing. I don't think you can have Ruby Riott come in and win, because like you said, it'll just cheapen the 21 other women in there that have, worked hard all year there. And it almost just feels like it's too much of a mega push right away. So I think, since I've already given my prediction, I think for me, my analysis would be that it's going to come down to, actually, those final five are great, because I think that's going to be at the finals of this match. I think Ruby Soho is in there, and I think it kind of comes down to Ruby Soho and Thunder Rosa, and Thunder Rosa, excuse me, and they're going to kind of tease who's going to win, because they're going to do like the false eliminations. I do think it's Thunder Rosa, because I think you're onto something, because it's kind of one of my first bold predictions I'm going to make. I think it's Thunder Rosa because they had that lights out match that didn't count that was absolutely classic, probably match of the year for AEW. I think they're going to have it, and this time, there's going to be promos like, look, this time we're settling the score. I think they're leading up to an Iron Woman match. Like, I think they're building to like an Iron Woman or some sort of big match that has meaning, because these two can go and it's a fun feud. And I think if you got to pay this off right, you got to have some sort of Iron Woman or a ladder match or 2 out of 3 falls, something meaningful to pay this off.
Yeah, and without going too far into the future, no offense to Chris Statlander, but I don't think she's the person to beat Britt Baker. I don't think it's been enough time yet with Baker having the title and being so over. I mean, not that Statlander isn't. So like, it's a tough one. And again, we're not gonna give our predictions yet for that. I mean, we will here in a second. I'm gonna go down the order, but like that's the same thing. I think that obviously Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker have unfinished business. So I think they could shock us and have Jade Cargill, and you never know. Like, and I'm not saying she's going to, you never know, especially with 21 people in there, especially and not knowing who the Joker is and not knowing, who it could be somebody that, is in the company that's been out for a while or something that we're just overlooking too. You never know. You just never know. So I can't think of anybody off the top of my head, but I'm just saying, you just never know, especially when they have that one. I mean, we thought that this past pay-per-view that it was going to be Daniel Bryan, and it ended up being Leo Rush. So, I'm just saying, like, it just, you never know. So
no, and they've been really good at leaking out. I figured it out. They're leaking stuff out intentionally to really flood it, and it works because CM Punk. There was an awesome article on ESPN. If you guys haven't read it, I posted it on our social, where it talks about how CM Punk. This was like a 3-year in the work debut, and one of the things that really, really stood out to me was this. He kind of mentioned like the long-term storytelling. He kind of mentioned how you don't know where they're going. It's entertaining, and that's what this could be. This could be one of those women who return. This could be one of those matches where it's a swerve where someone wins we don't see coming, but then they build a beautiful story off of it.
Well, I mean, somebody as simple as Rio, I mean, she's not on that list, and it could be something like that, and she hasn't necessarily had a chance to fight for the title since she lost it. I mean, really, because of the pandemic and everything else, she was stuck in her homeland, not even able to compete on Dynamite. So, I mean, same with Jamie Hayter just coming back and stuff like that. So you never know. It's one of those things that, that's the beauty about AEW, is that it literally is the element of surprise.
And that's why it's, I know I kind of went off, rails in that last little diatribe, and that's why the element of surprise works. Like with CM Punk leaking, everything, like I was trying to say before, they could be leaking Ruby Soho and she might not show up, but because they want to distract you from who is, like you said, a return, another surprise, because the art of direction is misdirection, so like you said, there's people who have been out that could come back and get a massive pop, and then maybe Ruby Soho comes out for a pop later, or she comes up to New York. I don't know. I know as Patriots fans, and sorry if you're not Pats fans, we always say in Bill we trust. Hey, in Tony we trust, because so far in these last 2 years of AEW, there's not been too many times where I'm like, really, that's what you delivered?
I mean, except for Leo Rush. I mean, that was honestly a swing and a miss. I don't care what anybody says. You can defend it all you want. I'm not saying it needed to be Daniel Bryan either. Like, I know that was the swerve, bro. Like, they more or less probably leaked that, like you were saying, on purpose to have people buzzing about it being Daniel Bryan, and it wasn't. But yeah, it just Leo Rush. I mean, and then he goes and retires like a day later or whatever it is, or like shortly thereafter, and it's like I don't know. But anyhow, this isn't about Leo Rush right now. But
no, I know. I just meant like in the interim, like there's been more, the usual baseball analogy. There's been more home runs than strikeouts, because I think it's just we're so used to WWE, we get disappointed. I know I'm guilty if I overhyped. I'm sure I overhyped myself being Daniel Bryan too, but yeah, sometimes Ethan Page, I love him to death. I think has a great vlog. He's funny. He's a good wrestler. That was kind of the letdown too in the ladder match, because I know he wasn't really respected, but it was hard because if you hadn't watched him in Impact, you really didn't know who he was. So there has been a couple of those, but you never know. And there's a lot of names there. Unfortunately, Braun Strowman's free, so I don't want to personally see him in AEW. I'd rather him go to Impact. I think he fits better there. But the Titan could be All Elite or whatever his new name is.
right, yeah. Just there's so much, like I said, especially with everybody that Vince has been releasing lately. You never know. It could be one or both of the former Iconics that show up too. You never know. You just never know. So we could talk about that the rest of the night if we wanted to. And again, we're recording this late Friday night, but we'll move on to the next match. The next match on our list is Jon Moxley and Kojima. This match is interesting to me because they're making it somewhat personal, and that's a little bit new to, I think, some of the stuff that we see with most of the stuff we see with the Japan wrestlers coming to face some of the AEW guys. Usually they kind of like respect and whatever, and Moxley's still saying that, but he's also calling him an old man, and like it just seems more personal for some reason. They had the press conference and they got physical in the press conference, but I just don't see any reason that Kojima needs to win this match. I don't. There's no title on the line per se, so like I don't think it helps Moxley to lose a match, especially a match that has no stakes per se. It's just a grudge match essentially. So I think that Moxley has to win this match.
No, I agree 100%. It doesn't make sense to have a one-off booking come and basically derail any push you have going on Moxley, because there's been a lot of internet hate on Moxley right now for his push. And they're like, oh, well, he was supposed to get his mega push and now he's gotten squashed, and they don't understand. He got knocked down the ranks. He was supposed to take time off when his child was born. He was supposed to be exploded, but that terrible pyro company gave us sparklers. So I think they didn't really have a lot planned for him. So I think him with Eddie Kingston now was a beautiful pairing. I'm going to use a cliche here, it was Dynamite, and then the Wild thing, and now him kind of getting back into New Japan again by having all these challengers come. So it's cool from a character building perspective. But like you said, it just wouldn't make sense for him to come in and squash him, because then what was the point of him getting his like redemption angle or his building back up towards the title picture?
Yeah, I think that it's going to be a good match. It'll probably be a very physical match. It'll be the Japan strong style type of match. But yeah, I just don't see the point of Moxley losing this match. And like you said, it's going to be a one-off. Lately, or pretty much every time when there's a one-off, you don't see the person that is coming for the one-off win. So right. No matter where it is, AEW, I mean, WWE doesn't do one-offs anymore because they don't like to work with anybody but themselves. So it just doesn't translate into making any sense for you. Like, why would Tony Khan have somebody from outside the company come in and beat one of their top stars?
Right. If it was on the indies, like if they were wrestling for like Chaotic Wrestling in Massachusetts, any one of them could win because they don't do storylines. They just wrestle and basically just trade victories. So something like that. Yeah. But on AEW's essentially biggest pay-per-view of the year, they're going to have Jon Moxley look strong because they're showcasing their brand. They're showing we are AEW, because there's going to be a lot of new eyes on this card. I mean, we have 20 responses on our thing, and 100% went towards Moxley. There wasn't one person. Every other pie chart's like split, 50-50, or Women's Battle Royal split like 27% in a lot of places. Nope, Moxley 100%. Everyone went with Mox.
So if that match goes the other way, we all lose.
Yep.
Including all the fans in Chicago, because I don't think they want to see it out. It's not like if Moxley loses a riot, but I'm sure they will not appreciate Moxley losing again to somebody that's not in the company. And it's interesting to note too that like people like Lance Archer aren't on this show. Pac got pulled for, I don't even know. Do we know why he got pulled?
There's a lot of rumors flooding. It sounds like travel issues, which will make sense because I think the UK just changed the status of our country to, I think, non-essential travel. So it could be something like that. Because they're fighting next week on Rampage, excuse me. So I think this would be a good point. So Andrade's been teasing an open challenge. So do you think we get an open challenge here?
Well, it's not on our thing, but I was going to suggest that he did, he put on Twitter that it was Andrade versus ? Is this going to be the spot for Bryan Danielson to make his appearance? Possibly.
Or Adam Cole, baby. Boom.
Yeah, it could be one of those. If it's going to be somebody from outside the company, it's going to be one of those two. It has to be. And from everything that I've read, Daniel Bryan signed. He's there. He's 100% there. It's same as Ruby Soho. It sounds like she's there. They're just waiting to figure out the right time to bring her in. They're pushing Andrade. What better type? The only thing that sucks about that is that if you bring Daniel Bryan, Bryan Danielson in, or even Adam Cole in, you don't really want them to lose to Andrade, but you also don't want Andrade to lose either because you're pushing him. So, you'd obviously have to probably do a schmaz or some sort of, Chavo gets involved or something just to protect both of them, because it's the same as, we'll get to the Darby match, but it's the same thing. It's a no-win situation having one of your bigger stars face somebody that's having their first match with the company. Like, it makes no sense. That's one thing I will say about the Christian Cage thing. He's undefeated since coming in. And that makes sense. You want these guys that are big names coming in. You don't beat them one week and then not, like, that's what Vince does that pisses everybody off, is that, well, he won last week, so this person has to win this week. And then the other, like, no, if things are booked correctly, you're good to go. But yeah, I'm worried that, this could be, Andrade could end up facing somebody else, or maybe he won't even have a match on the who knows? Maybe it's all a work. I don't know, but I'll have to wait and see.
I think the only reason I think that is because before we get to the next match, the Paul White QT match, I feel like this is going to be short. So I think they're going to need to fill it with a decent match. So I feel like if they do the Andrade internally, realistically, I think what they could and most likely do, Sammy Guevara versus Andrade to tear the house down.
Yeah, there you go. There's another name that's not on the show.
Yeah. So, and the thing is, they have it's a good card, good people on the show, but it just shows you that they have so much mega talent. But it's nice to get a fresh card, because then next month we can get a completely different card with completely different names. So not next month, next pay-per-view, excuse me, because they're not WB. They don't do friggin' monthly. Thankfully,
well, they're smart. They don't oversaturate the market, and it makes the storytelling a 3-month lead up to something is way better than a 3-week lead up to something. And that's the problem with WWE versus AEW, is that they come off a pay-per-view and then 3 to 4 weeks later they have another one.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they don't do rematches on the pay-per-views. They do them on Raw for 3 weeks in a row. And then they have somebody face somebody different on the pay-per-view. So like you have this build-up that is, that's the big difference, is that some of these matches have been building since the last pay-per-view.
So last quick thing, only because Emily said I should do it, especially to you. We're going to do a little Mongo quizzes rolling time to see if he's been paying attention. So how many shirts did CM Punk sell? Like, what was the official number? Did you I want to see if you heard it.
I didn't see the number, but I did see that people are losing their minds that Pro Wrestling Tees couldn't get the shirts that have the black, because they bought all the stock, and then they bought all the stock of the white shirts they could get too. So I know that it's the highest selling shirt in history, and it took 72 hours for that to happen. That I do know.
100,000 shirts as
Lord.
of today. And they're shipping to more countries than they've ever shipped to. Like, how insane. But he doesn't move the needle, according to Roman Reigns.
Yeah, well.
So
that's also a load of crap too, but I mean, that is what it is. But yeah.
And then
astronomical numbers.
The last one, how many rematches, if you do WWE pay-per-views and Raw SmackDowns and the AEW Dynamite's pay-per-views, how many rematches do you think we've seen difference-wise? Like, give me a number for WWE. How many rematches do you think they've had all year?
Oh, like the same competitors facing each other in a match. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's got to be in like the hundreds. It has to be.
160 rematches, and AEW had 16. So that's why something like this is fresh. Even though we're getting Paul White, QT Marshall next, that's why AEW is fresh, because we're not getting the same people every time. 160 to 16 with almost the same amount of time of programming minus those little pay-per-views is ridiculous.
Well, and that, like, I feel like after WrestleMania, it seemed like on Raw every Monday it was the same matches. It was like it's like who put the tape in from last week. That's what it felt like. It felt like it was the same show over and over again. So yeah, that 160 to 16. That's wow. That's a big gap there. Maybe someone should tell Vince that rematches aren't the best all the time. But yeah, moving on, like Mongo said, the next match on the card is Paul White and QT Marshall with Aaron Solo and Nick Comoroto. So the this match, obviously the lead up it started because of QT picking on Tony Schiavone's kid. Big Show, Paul White came out to defend him, and here we are. The interesting thing about this is we just had Billy Gunn turn on Paul White on Dynamite on Wednesday.
Makes no sense.
no, and it was the Seth Rollins moment where, you know, he stands behind him and hits him with a chair, and everybody goes, "Oh my gosh!" And except this time, no one really cared. Nobody was. It wasn't. You know, it didn't have the pop that I think they thought it was going to have. People were just like, "Okay, that doesn't make sense."
Right.
Pretty much the response to it. So you have to wonder if there's going to be any further development in that. But I honestly don't see. I mean, why would they? This one's one of the tough ones because I could see them beating Paul White here, only because they're trying to make QT and his group, the Factory, look strong, which I think that group's a joke, in my opinion. I think that I think that it's one of those things where, like, on paper, it's a great idea, and then they do it, and they're like, nah. It's like when you, like, someone picks out a hair color or something, they're like, oh, this looks good on the box, and you put it on your head, and you're like, ooh, Jesus, that looks horrible. It's kind of how this has gone. Like, other than the Cody Rhodes part of it, like that made sense, but then after that, it's just been like, why are we here, kind of thing. So
who are you gonna say for your official pick then, good sir?
My official pick. This one's tough. I feel like QT has to go over here, but it's going to be some shenanigans between the Factory. Maybe Billy Gunn, the Gun Club, gets involved. I just don't see. It doesn't help anybody for Paul White to win this match. I mean, they're playing up that his hips all decrepit and all this stuff. But then, you know, typical 50-50 booking that we're so used to, you know, they had the Factory and Billy Gunn had the upper hand on leading up to the pay-per-view. So does that mean that Big Show Paul White gets his revenge at this? Yeah, I don't know. I'm just gonna pick. I'm gonna shut up and pick UT Marshall.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Paul White here. I agree. It doesn't really make the Factory look good, but this feud just throwing together a feud to just have the Big Show beat people up. Paul White, sorry, JR is going to call him Big Show more than we are tonight. I'm just saying that right now. And we love you, JR. We just know the truth. I just think it's got to be Paul White just because they just want that little 30-second squash pop, because this is going to be the Factory getting interfering. He's going to take people out. Billy Gunn and his stupid kids are going to come out. He's going to take them out. And then, you know, it's going to probably be someone coming out to help Big Show. And then Tony and him are going to talk or something. It's just going to be kind of, I think, a cheap shenanigan match. So honestly, this is what should have been on the pre-show, because this is kind of like the comedy match. This is kind of the, So I say Paul White, but hey guys, if there's ever a match on the card that I say you can skip and go get some snacks, this is a good match to, like, I'm going to go get the Tostinos out of the oven.
Well, and no offense to QT Marshall, but no one cares. Like, just his whole career in AEW, like leading up to this, that the show that the QT Marshall movie that's out there is cool. Don't get me wrong. Like seeing that, it was a good movie, good watch, fun to see. But what he's done in AEW, no one cares. Like no one cares. It's been again a start and stop. He was with Dustin as a tag team, and just no offense. And I get that that's some of the storyline. That, like they're holding me back, all this stuff. But like again, no one cares. Like it's unfortunate, and I'm not trying to like shit on him, but like it's the truth. No one really cares.
He's just not charismatic, and it's nothing against him. It's the Lance Storm curse. It's the great wrestler, just can't really tell a story, and it's nothing. It's just I don't buy it. Like when he was like dating the bunny for a while, it's like, okay, but the bunny's posting about the Blade and her anniversary, and QT's posting about his wife making his gear. So like, I'm supposed to believe they're like, it's like almost like he doesn't care. He's like, the storyline's just there. It's like, did anyone honestly believe that Allie was going for QT? No.
It's like the Lashley Lana storyline all over again. It's like, yeah, sure, they're married, cool. Like, yeah, they're together. Yeah. Okay.
Weird. Wait, so you're saying we're wrestling fans that can critique all companies, that we're not just stupid AEW marks?
I mean, I didn't say that. I mean, that's kind of the way. I mean, I feel like when you're like you see these court TV shows, I feel like you're leading me that way. But yeah, it's again, unfortunately, they've tried different things with him, and it's just no one can. I think the most relevant thing he had was when he was in a tag team with Dustin, and I think Dustin carried that team because the fans have a sentimental favorite in Dustin Rhodes. So, but it is what it is, and yeah, that whole bunny thing with just has anybody had any more start-stop storylines than Brandy Rhodes? Like she had the thing with the bunny, and then she had the thing where she had her own like goon group for a little while with like Awesome Kong, and like it's just that booking's been almost as bad as QT's. Not it's just all over the place. And that's one thing I will say about AEW is they're not afraid to try something, and if it doesn't work, they change course. Like clearly there was no rhyme or reason as to why the bunny Allie was dating QT but married to the Blade. And then Eddie Kingston brings it up and it's like, go get your wife. And then she's so like clearly they abandoned that because they were like, yeah, this is bad. They tried it for a while and they were like, yeah, this doesn't make sense. That's one thing I will say. Instead of just like writing it off, they'll at least try to transition into something else to see if they can get it to work, where like Vince would just be like, take him off TV. So I will give Tony Khan and the EVPs credit that like they at least try. And a lot of times it's a home run, like Mongo said. They don't strike out often, but it seems like with QT they have. And like you said, this is just thrown together for Paul White to look strong. Obviously Paul White's not going to challenge for any titles anytime soon or anything like that. He's going to have matches here. He's going to be more like the Brock Lesnar, the attraction match, which is fine. I mean, he's in. I would imagine he's got to be 50 something by now, or darn close to it. But yeah, I don't know.
I wonder if this was supposed to be Shaq, and they're like, we got QT instead.
They're like, what's the next best thing besides Shaq? I know.
Shit, we can't afford that. Go with QT.
Yeah.
But my fear is, what if this is all a swear for QT to say I'm injured, but I have a replacement, and freaking Braun comes out?
Oh. Don't do that.
Sorry, WWE scarred me. I know it probably won't happen, but WWE scarred me into shit like that.
Yeah. So, anyways, Big Show's 49. So yeah, he's pushing 50. He's only, he doesn't have a ton left in him match wise. So yeah. Anyways, let's move on. You made your pick. I made mine. You're gonna go with Paul White. I'm gonna go. This is the only one we've differed on so far, of note. So the next match is another one of those matches that, I'm not going to say could go anyway, because I feel like Jericho has to win this match, and it's Jericho and MJF. So I know they're teasing that Jericho could join the commentary team permanently, and I know he's on Rampage's team. Permanently, that's one of his positions. But I don't see MJF beating Jericho 4 times. I didn't see him beating him 3 times, to be honest with you. So I feel like Jericho, they're teasing this, Jericho's, over the hill and all this stuff, but I feel like somehow Jericho's going to come away with a win here.
I agree. I'm going to go my official pick. See, I knew you made yours. I'm going to make my official pick, Chris Jericho. It's hard to pick him, though, because like you said, they can go both ways. I mean, he went through the labors of Jericho, and that was such good storytelling. I know people shit on, but he went through like trials and tribulation from fighting his past to having to go through matches that are not his element to having to fight a death match, a style he doesn't fight. So from a storytelling standpoint, it's beautiful. And then he comes up just short. If he loses again, it's almost going to be almost like a failed run at the end. And that's not a good look. I think he worded it perfectly to put the seed of doubt, because he said he can never wrestle in an AEW ring. And they kept emphasizing, well, this is your own prerogative. This is your own doing. So if they do pull the trigger on MJF, which, I mean, the fans agree with us too, only 9% said MJF, 90% said Jericho. But if they do pull the trigger, maybe it could be one of those things where he's on commentary and someone provokes him back into the ring. But again, I don't see what it does to Jericho's legacy to have him lose again. And I feel like he's going to get the win. I feel like there's going to be some shenanigans, but I feel like Jericho's good because that's going to make him look strong. And it doesn't hurt MJF. MJF is still one of the most protected guys in the company.
Well, and he's that chicken shit heel that can come out the next week and complain about how he lost. Like a certain, complain about how he didn't want the match to begin with. He said no, but having Jericho throw his career out there, dangle it out there was enough to make him say okay to have the match. There's ways for them to have MJF lose and not lose any steam. So yeah, I don't think Jericho's done yet. I think that he still has, stuff in the ring that he can do. Unless, like you said, I mean, I could see him pulling the trigger and trying to find a way. Maybe he shows up at Impact or something like that, there's so many options where they're saying an AEW ring, maybe he ends up going to New Japan to like do something there, even though like they're all working together. So there's ways around it.
And they're swerving you both ways because they're planting the seeds of him leaving, with JR bawling like a baby doing the interview. Like he's like, hey, Chris. I was like, oh my gosh, he's crying. Like, is this because, and by the way, the Ringside News can go fuck yourselves. Another company that just keeps putting false shit out there. JR literally had to come out and say this is news to me, and other sources reporting that JR legitimately thought he was being fired, and that's how he was finding out. Thankfully, Tony Khan has balls and went in and talked to JR, said, I don't know where these rumors started. So Ringside News has actually blocked us because I commented, you guys should really be careful what you're posting, because you're like the Fuego thing they posted about him being signed. Fuego's like, yeah, that's not true. Like the people you're writing stories about are calling you out. You obviously need to rethink how you're doing your shit. And then you're going to block fans for criticizing you and saying, look, just do better. No. So Ringside News, you can go after yourself because you literally almost killed JR's career. And I partially wonders if that's why he was so upset on Dynamite, was if he thought he was being fired or if he was working the storyline. And we probably won't know.
Well, and some of that thinking he was being fired, he mentioned this was the first in-ring interview he had done in AEW. And that was one of the things that was supposedly he was being transitioned into, was doing ring interviews and not commentating anymore, doing, sit down interviews and stuff like that. So yeah, you had to wonder. I would hope that Tony Khan talked to him before that. So I would hope that, he knew that he's, but yeah, you're never going to know.
Right. And, I know we want to peek behind the curtain for some things, but there's certain stories you don't need to, like, how would they like it if, they had writers there and they found out, oh, Ringside News files for bankruptcy, and they found out through a news source? They feel like absolute crap. So just remember those people you're writing about. And I know we read the dirt sheets, but I'm sorry, I'm calling them out because they obviously, this is the second thing they've done. Like they literally have Fuego screenshotting their DM saying, no, I never said that to you guys. And them saying, oh, we never reported that. Like they have the screenshots. Like, admit it, you got it wrong. Just be Dave Meltzer. He's still around. He gets more stuff wrong and gets right.
Yeah, and that's the problem with a lot of these dirt sheets, especially now with the internet, is that all it takes is one person, getting clickbait, and it just spreads like wildfire. And even if it's wrong, right, or indifferent, it just, and speaking of internet, I also want to, give our condolences to the family of Daphne too. I know this is kind of a weird transition, but, she ended up having some, a video that she had posted that seemed like she was struggling mentally with the mental health and talking about CTE and saying that she has to make sure that she saves her brain to be studied. The only way you can study it is when you're dead. And then she ends up dying. So not a whole lot of details have been released as to exactly what happened. Not that it matters, but clearly, it seemed like an apparent suicide. I don't want to jump the gun, but that's probably what it was. And, mental health is no joke, especially in some of these wrestlers and some of these performers that were there in the 90s that were taking headshots that, we know now so much about the damage that some of that stuff could have done. And I'm not saying Daphne took a ton of chair shots. I'm just saying that, she brought up CTE. So clearly she thought there was something going on up there besides the thoughts she was having. So condolences to her family, her friends. During the video, if you saw it, it was hard to watch. Her phone was ringing. She had to keep standing her phone back up because people were calling her, trying to get her to stop. And then one of the things I saw was that if this is true, and again, it's the only thing I'm going to say about this, and I'm not going to, if this is true that you could have saved someone's life by entering or not having permission to enter or whatever, I read that somewhere that one of the reasons it took so long for the police to get in is because the maintenance, the people that run the building she lives in were afraid to give them access to enter the building, enter the room, and unlock the door, essentially. And if that's the case, y'all fucked up. Because there needs to be, we need to be better, I guess is the best way to put it, because you'd rather do something wrong and ask for forgiveness to save somebody's life versus go, well, we followed the law and they're dead. I'm just saying, if that was what is, that could have been the difference between life and death. I hope that wasn't the case. I hope that, it didn't change the outcome, but it could have, and we may never know. But I did hear that they had trouble getting in, something to do with the police and the building people not having supposedly the right to do it. And, again, condolences to Daphne's, friends, family, fans. It's just tough.
Absolutely. Wonderfully said. I don't want to jump on it too much more. And I do know she suffered a lot of concussions when she was in TNA because there was a lawsuit. I don't want to speculate because I don't know the details, but I do know there was issues. And like you said, CT is no joke. Mental health is no joke, especially. You're not alone. I willing to admit it. I suffer from anxiety and depression. I have a wonderful support system, and part of it is putting myself out there on this podcast. So just, you're not alone. If you ever feel like you're alone, shoot us a DM. We can't give you advice, but we can listen. We can talk. The National Suicide Prevention Hotline, 1-800-273-8255. Just, there is always people available. Don't think you're alone, because when you think you're alone, there's people who are caring about you. And those people would miss you. So just please, that's why I like watching wrestling. I like the community because I get to go on the Jericho Cruise. It's full of wonderful people. And those people are a community. I've had friends reach out and tell me that, wrestling is what keeps them going, keeps them motivated. And that's why you can make fun about entertainment all you want, but it's a passion for some people. And we can do better as human beings, and just know you're not alone. And our condolences. And sorry, I'm going all over the place. It's just suicide's a very touchy subject. So my condolences sincerely to the family. And if anyone's seriously suffering, seriously, just DM us. We can talk, at least be in here.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Now trying to get back on track here. I know it's kind of hard after all that, but talking about hard, this match is going to be hard hitting. I think Miro and Eddie Kingston, Miro being the TNT champion, defending against Eddie Kingston. I don't think that they're going to take the belt off of Miro yet, but I think this match is going to be along the same lines of the Moxley Kojima match, where it's going to be just war. It's going to be two guys beating the shit out of each other, and I feel like this match could low key steal the show, and not for the flippy dippy stuff, but for like the type of match that these two could have, because they've made this feud has only really come up in the last couple of weeks, but they've made it very personal, like really quick, and it's believable. And the run-in they had on Rampage Friday night kind of sealed the deal. But yeah, I think Miro right now has to keep the title for a little bit longer.
No, I agree, because what are you going to do to top? You have Miro go over another monster. Eddie may not be a Lance Archer in stature, but he has the heart to make him that big. He has the heart to be believable. When he came in and fought Moxley, people wrote him off. But I was like, he's got grit. So he was a believable. He was scrappy. He could steal a victory. He could steal a victory, tomorrow night at All Out and become the champion. I don't agree. I don't think it should. My pick officially is going to be Miro, because it makes the most sense to make Miro a monster, keep building him up. It's got to have to be either Darby getting his revenge after another feud somehow, or it's going to have to be another worthy contender. It has to mean something, because they've built Miro up that you can't have a Redeemer storyline and then just lose. It wouldn't really make sense. So I think this is going to be one of those long-term things. Miro's going to run hot with the title for quite a while.
And line of the night on Rampage was when Kingston said, "You can redeem these nuts," and then hopped in the ring. That was pretty funny. He was like, "Oh, the Redeemer, huh? Yeah, redeem these nuts." And then, yeah. Anyways, I think that, and I will give credit to Tony Khan too for letting somebody like Kingston talk the way he talks. I know he's like right on that line of saying stuff you probably can't say on TV. Like he's like right there. So that's what makes it even better too. But yeah, we both have Miro on this, and yeah, he needs to have a meaningful title run where he holds the title for a little bit longer. Not that it hasn't been meaningful so far, but it needs to go a little bit further. Speaking of title runs, the next match we're going to talk about is the steel cage match of the AEW Tag Team Championship. The Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson, with Brandon Cutler, with Nakazawa, with whoever they want to bring to the ring, I would assume.
Looney Tunes.
Yeah, the Good Brothers. Who knows? I mean, they won't be able to get in the cage in theory, so it doesn't matter who they bring out there. But are going to be defending their titles against Lucha Brothers, Penta and Rey Fenix, with Alex Abrahantes. I might be a little bit off here, but I feel like every single time the Lucha Brothers have faced anybody, whether it was SCU, whether it was Kenny and Hangman, whether it's the Bucks, they haven't won for the titles. So I feel like they need to win this match, and I think they're going to. I don't know if that's going to cause dissension between the elite or what, but I feel like you can't keep burying, and I'm using the term burying loosely, but you can't keep having the Lucha Brothers have great matches and lose. I don't know how you do it. And by putting it in the steel cage, it gives the Young Bucks an out. You can say, well, they had to beat us in a cage and all this stuff. But I think the Lucha Brothers are going to win this match.
I would agree with you. I think it makes the most sense booking wise to to transition to us, not keep them on the Bucks. I think you are 100% nailed it on the head. They've been this close every single time they face the elite. They've been this close every time they face Hangman and Kenny, or when the belts were on the line. They've always come up short. In the tag team tournament, they came up short. They always were just there. The ladder match they had at the first All Out was a banger. In the cage that friggin' Rey Fenix is going to fucking defy gravity and do some Elix Skipper level shit TNA style off the cage, or something crazy is going to happen. They're going to want a massive bump in Chicago. This crowd's already going to be hot. So it's going to be insane. And I think the Lucha Brothers steal the victory. They'll get a massive pop, and then they can continue that feud with Andrade, because then now his clients have a chance at the titles. So does he run interference, maybe help them win the title to kind of keep that storyline going? Like, look, with my help, you're champions.
Yeah, that could happen too. I could see that happening. So we're both on the same page there. And like I said, a steel cage gives them an out. It gives the chicken shit heels the out to say, well, you beat us, but can you beat us? You can't beat us in an actual match. You had to beat us in a steel cage match. So it keeps them looking strong even in a loss. And moving on, again, speaking of championships, we have the women's champion, Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, with Rebel against the number one contender for the championship, Chris Statlander. I feel like I kind of previewed it a little bit when we both kind of did with the Casino Battle Royale. I feel like Britt Baker has to win this match. I feel like it's the same thing as Miro. I feel like you have to keep the title on her for a little bit longer. You can't you can't tout her as the most over woman in the division, have her lose a couple months into her title reign.
I agree. It wouldn't make any sense for someone this hot, this electric to lose her title right now. And it's nothing against Chris. It's just not her time storyline wise. It's not that she can't carry the company. It's not that she wouldn't be a good champion. But like you said, yeah, she had her Britsburg. Yeah, she had her moments, but they need to keep running with this, because I was talking to Emily earlier. When I went on the cruise last year, people were literally chanting at her Adam Cole's girlfriend. And she turned to the crowd and was like, he's not here. I am. And like, she hadn't technically had her heel turn yet, but people were like, oh, she's boring, she's stale, blah, blah, blah. Emily really liked her, so I was invested. Like, I really enjoy watching her. So it's cool to see from that heel turn then to what she is now. She became a mega star, so now people take her seriously. This would keep her star power going up, because if she loses, she could just fizzle out. And you can't do that when you have someone who's as over as she is.
I agree. Totally agree. 100%. The next match is probably the reason that everybody is going to be tuning in, going to be going to the event, going to be watching news outlets afterwards, checking internet, everything else.
Oh, we already covered Paul White. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, we already covered QT Marshall. What the heck? CM Punk's making his long-awaited return to the ring after a 7-year hiatus to take on arguably one of the hottest names in wrestling period right now in Darby Allin. This match worries me. This match could go 6 ways to Sunday. This match, I don't know. You can't beat Punk in Chicago. You can't beat Punk in his return to wrestling, but you also don't necessarily want to beat Darby either. So I don't know where to go exactly on this, other than the fact that I can't see them beating Punk.
So I'm going to officially say I saw a post in a group earlier, and I apologize, I don't remember your name, but it was the same thought I had. So I'm like, okay, 2 people had this thought, might come true. CM Punk, Darby, time limit draw. Leave the fans wanting more, because then it protects both of them. No one loses. I know it's cheap. I know they already did that with Darby and Punk, but with Darby and Cody. But you do time limit draw, so they fought to the end. Darby kept up with one of the all-time greats. CM Punk still got it. He went to the limit. And I think that's what they could do, or they could have Punk. But either way, Punk's going to come out on top, or it's going to go to a time limit draw. So those are my official prediction. But I think it's going to go to time limit draw, because how do you let Darby lose? I know Sting's not there, but I know he can take the loss, but I think it almost kind of pushes him back down a little bit.
Well, and I mentioned that too on one of our recent broadcasts. That
last week's show.
Yeah, I think you can't beat Punk. I don't understand how you either have Punk win or it goes to a draw. And I don't, no offense to Darby, but it doesn't do anybody any good to have Darby win this match. So I'm with you there that if Punk doesn't win, it's a draw. Like, that's exactly how it has to go. But if I have to pick a winner, I'm picking Punk, only based on the fact that I'm not going to not pick a winner. But I believe that I'm with you 100% that it's going to be Punk or a draw. There's no other way around it. And now the main event, and I know a lot of people are going to be so up from the CM Punk Darby Allin match that this match is the main event, but it's only because it has the championship, because any other night, the match we just talked about would be the main event, especially in Chicago.
Good luck following that, Kenny, because it's going to be a banger. It's
going to be like Kane and Austin having to follow the Undertaker and Mick Foley in Hell in a Cell match. That just no one's going to remember that Kane won the title that night. So it's the champion Kenny Omega taking on Christian Cage for the AEW World Title. Again, coming into this, Christian Cage is the Impact World Champion. He dethroned Kenny Omega recently, about a month or so ago, for that title. That being said, I do not think he's going to beat Kenny Omega for the AEW Championship. I feel like this is going to be Christian's first loss. They've built him up very strong. He has his own belt at this point. I know it's for a different company, but I feel like Kenny Omega is going to go over in this match.
I mean, I'd have to be a fool to go against you. I agree. I think it's got to be Kenny Omega. It doesn't make sense to have Christian take the title. You're not that guy, pal. You're just not that guy. Not saying he can't. Not saying down the road he can't. It just doesn't make sense, because this is Hangman's belt right now. This is when he comes back and they wrestle in North Carolina, I think maybe that's where he gets it back, or maybe he gets it back at the next pay-per-view, not gets it back. He's never had it, excuse me, but you know what I mean? I just don't think Christian's the guy because, again, kind of like earlier with Statlander, it's not that they're not worthy contenders, not that they can't carry the company. It's just their time is not now.
Yeah, they're building towards Hangman, and you have more storyline there with the way that Dark Order and them, they lost, and he lost his match and lost his championship match and all that stuff, and then we haven't seen Hangman since. Right. So they're definitely building towards that. But yeah, Christian, where he already beat Kenny for the Impact title, I feel like they kind of like gave him the consolation prize already. They were like, here, you can have this one, but you're not getting this one. So
right.
Again, there's no other way to do it. Kenny Omega needs to win this match and retain, especially if Penta and Rey Fenix beat the Bucks. You can't have all three of them lose their titles in the same night yet.
Right. That's why I think it only makes sense. The tag titles changing hands makes sense on this card. And I feel like this, we always show WWE that the predictable, maybe we're going to get all these right. But it's because we're invested in the storyline. So we're not just saying, oh, this is because how it goes. This is how we think. And then we're probably going to be swerving a couple of these matches. There's probably going to finish that we maybe don't agree with. But either way, the storytelling's there. So I'm excited for it. The people listening, you guys are really excited because I was reading the bold predictions. Because first time I put this little bold prediction thread on our contest just to see what people would say, because I think it's fun to have these predictions. So someone said Lana shows up with Miro as kind of like a War Games thing. That's a cool one. Adam Cole. Another person said Darby Punk time limit draw, and then Flight of the Valkyries gets played. That'd be interesting. Ruby Soho be Joker. Braun Strowman makes an appearance if someone else said that. AJ Lee accompanies Punk to the ring as the manager, or she's in the crowd. Daniel Bryan making his debut. Sammy Guevara accepting the challenge. CJ Perry showing up or in the crowd, and then Adam Cole in the Inspiration debut. So there's definitely a lot of hype for this. I mean, this could be either pay-per-view of the year, or it could be what could have been pay-per-view, but I think either way it's going to deliver. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, and it's not like AEW's let us down before. So it's just even if they have moments that aren't what we thought they might be, because again, we overthink everything as smart, again, air quotes, as smart wrestling fans, we overthink everything. So they know, they listen to the fans way more than WWE does. So they have yet to have a show where we're like, ugh. Like there might have been moments, but it's like maybe one match here or there. It's never like 50, like WWE seems like it's 50-50. There's like 7 matches on the card and like 3 are bad, 3 are good, and like there's one in the middle, and that's how it gets 5. It just seems to be the way that it goes. So AEW has yet to let us down, and I think that's important to remember going into this show, is that yes, expectations are high, and yes, everybody thinks certain surprise people are going to show up, and some of them may, and some of them, a lot of them might not, but AEW has a plan for everybody. And again, Daniel Bryan reportedly is signed. Now, is that leaked? Punk also teased that a couple weeks ago. So, obviously he's not going to be Daniel Bryan. He'll be Bryan Danielson when he shows up in AEW, more than likely. I don't think he's going to be Curry Man or anything like that. So I just, So again, it's important to remember that no matter what, we are very lucky to have competition again in wrestling, and to make, have an alternative and have people that are driven to give you an alternative that is pro wrestling, not sports entertainment.
Right. And people always want to argue there's not a difference. There is a difference. There's a reason why. Just go research events. There's a reason why he did it. It was tax loopholes, way to avoid commissions. It's him making a show about wrestling. AEW is a show of wrestling. WWE is a show about wrestling. I'm not going to go on a tangent, but just look what they're doing with NXT. Look what they're doing with Raw. Now they're SmackDown. They're making episodic television. AEW, they're taking these storylines. I'm invested. I get hyped before these pay-per-views. Like, I want to go to the store and get some snacks, like we always joke about. Like, I'm looking forward to it. I'm hoping, how I'm going to stream it, works, because like I said, with this cluster F of a situation, but I'm excited for it. So please don't let us down. When, like, at least streaming wise, let us see it, because this is going to be a historic pay-per-view. This is Punk's first wrestling match in 7 years. So whether you're an AEW fan or not, whether you watch other wrestling or not, I say watch this just for the CM Punk match alone, just so you can witness history. You can witness him wrestle again, because he's even said if he doesn't have it, he's stepping away again. But I think he's going to have it. I think he's just nervous because he cares. And because he cares, I think it's going to be an excellent match. And it's definitely one to tune in for.
And I think that's the major difference. If he had gone back to WWE, I don't think he would be disinvested.
Right.
I don't, he said it best when he said, he's back in wrestling. He left and now he's back in wrestling. And, he could go back there and do, read the scripts and do all that stuff and have matches, again, air quotes, matches. But he wants to have legitimate wrestling matches with the right build, with your back and forth that isn't scripted, or might have bullet points but isn't even remotely scripted like a WWE promo is. And when is the last time you've seen a WWE superstar hop the guardrail? Punk's done it twice now. And that's another thing I wanted to point out too on Rampage. You see the guy that offered him alcohol? When he Punk's like, no, like what are you doing? He's like, no. And then like the guy touched him and Punk was like, you like get off of me. Like it was just funny to see like the reaction when he jumped into the fans the second time. The guy was like, hey, you want this like shot? He's like, no. Like what are you
talking about not knowing CM Punk? Oh
right,
my goodness.
Yeah. I mean, it was comical. I mean, I wanted to bring that up, but and then it's also comical that every time and this is totally not even like on topic, but every time I hear Daniel Garcia, I think of The Rock's ex-wife, because it's Danny Garcia. That's her name. So every time I hear Daniel Garcia, I'm like, he's fighting The Rock's ex-wife. That's weird, but I assume that's why he's going with Daniel, not like Danny or Dan. He's Daniel Garcia. But yeah, I just thought it was funny that I was like, that's the Rock's manager / ex-wife. That's fucking weird. But anyways, we're winding down here. Like we said, Tim's gonna have his stuff in the end here. So we'll let him do his magic, and he's supposed to end the show the way we normally do. So that being said, thank you for sticking with us on this special episode. Manga, you don't have anything else to say, do you? I don't want to.
Yeah, just real quick, before we get to Tim's picks and wrap up, make sure you're following us on all of our social medias at www.PAP podcast, www.pap.com for info. Thank you so much. We are really close to hitting another major milestone, so please like, share, make sure you're telling people about us. It's super easy. Everywhere you search an app, just where you listen to a podcast, search www.PAP. We come up in every single podcast app. It's really cool. Alexa can find us. So let your friends know, because we're so close to hitting another major milestone. We can't thank you enough without it. Please keep dropping us the reviews and liking, subscribing, because it pushes up the charts. Thanks to you guys again. We broke the top 100 again on Apple for wrestling podcasts, which is insane because there's so many amazing podcasts out there. So thank you so much.
Well, and then YouTube too. Like we need to get more people listening and watching the YouTube. We're hoping to give you maybe some video content down the road to kind of spice that up a little bit. Maybe give you guys maybe it'll be like a smaller version of what we do. Like maybe, we can give you the video on that, but we're just like Mongo said, we're everywhere. Like we've done everything we can on our end. Now we just need you guys to spread the word and keep listening. And we thank you for doing everything that you've done so far to listen, telling a friend about us, and that person, even if they don't listen, the fact that you told them, it means a lot to us. So it means that you have faith in us and that you dig what we're, you're picking up what we're putting down essentially. So thank you, like Mongo said, and, just keep doing what you're doing, guys. It's awesome. And to be in the top 100, and again, it's Apple Podcast, so it's one of those things where it's not Spotify, it's pretty damn impressive for three guys from a small town in New Hampshire to be in the top 100. So again, thank you for all your support. Thanks for growing it. Thanks for word of mouth. Thanks for everything. Without further ado, we're gonna let, like I said, Tim give his predictions, and until then, I'm Roland Fueless,
and I'm Mongo,
and this is Wrestling with Wrestling's Past and Present.
All right, so we're going to run down my picks for AEW All Out 2021. We're going to start with the pre-show match, which is a 10-man tag team match. You have Best Friends, Orange Cassidy and Chuck Taylor, and Jurassic Express, Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus with Marco Stunt. They're going to face the Hardy Family Office, Matt Hardy and Private Party, and the Hybrid 2, Angelico and Jack Evans. This is going to be an awesome match to get the crowd going. Really smart match that could easily be on the main card, but if you're looking to get buys for the pay-per-view, this is the one that you want to showcase for free. I'm really looking forward to this match. As far as winner, I'm going to go with Best Friends and Jurassic Express to pick up the win here, but I think this is going to be a barn burner of a match. It's a term that we say very frequently on this program. So I'm going to go with Best Friends and Jurassic Express to win this match, in a match that could be really sneaky good. So I'll start off with the 21-woman Casino Battle Royale for an AEW Women's World Championship match. Just going to run down the participants here. You have Nyla Rose, Thunder Rosa, The Bunny, Big Swole, Julia Hart, Tay Conti, Diamante, Penelope Ford, Red Velvet, Shida, Emi Sakura, Jade Cargill, Kiera Hogan, Bandon, Layla Hurst, and others. Rebel, Anna Jay, Rio, plus the Joker, the Wild Card, and a few others. Again, I always like the way that they do their battle royals, coming up in groups as opposed to just one entrant at a time. So I think they really know what they're doing when it comes to battle royals. Again, I'm kind of torn. This is such a hard one to pick, especially when you don't know that final participant. My gut, though, is telling me Jade Cargill is going to win. They've been pushing her pretty hard lately. So I'm going to go with Jade Cargill to win. But I think it's going to come down to her and Thunder Rosa. So that's my final two there. Thunder Rosa was my other pick that I thought was, that I was leaning towards. But I'm going to go with Jade Cargill to win this match, to pick one without knowing, obviously, who the 21st participant will be. Next up is a singles match between Jon Moxley and Satoshi Kujima. Not too familiar with Kojima's work, I'll be perfectly honest with you. But I think Jon Moxley can have a match with anybody, so I expect this one to be a really good match. I'm going to go with Moxley for the win here. I think he needs the one. He just lost his title to Lance Archer not that long ago, so I think he needs to pick up a little wave of momentum again. So I'm going to go with Jon Moxley for the win here in a match that I think is going to be pretty good. Next up is the return of Paul White, his AEW wrestling debut against QT Marshall with Aaron Soto and Nick Camarado in a singles match here. I love Paul White, the Big Show, the Giant, whatever you want to call him. I personally don't think this match is going to be that great. He's been out of the ring for a while. Nothing against his work and nothing against QT's work. I just have a sneaky suspicion this match really isn't going to be too much to write home about. I think they're going to give Paul White the win here. I don't think they're going to spoil his wrestling debut, although it would be a good way to put QT Marshall over. I don't see it happening. I think it's a little predictable here. Well, what's going to happen? I would be pleasantly surprised, though, because I think if I was booking this match, I think I would put QT Marshall over. I don't think that's going to happen, though. I'm going to go Paul White for the win. Next up, we're going to talk about the Chris Jericho and MJF match. If Jericho loses, he must retire from AEW in-ring competition. Coming off the labors of Jericho, where MJF got the win in the last labor by actually submitting Chris Jericho to his armbar. I don't know if a lot of people saw that coming. I think they've made it kind of obvious, though, that Chris Jericho is going to win here. I don't think he's going to retire from in-ring competition right now. I know he's played that he's got a lot to think about card, and he's realizing it could be the end for him. I think they're kind of making it obvious that he's going to win. This match should be a good one. The Labor Jericho match was really good, and that was on free TV. So you put these two in a pay-per-view setting, they can tear the house down. So I think it's going to be an awesome match. I'm going to go with Chris Jericho for the win. Next up, we'll talk about the AEW TNT Championship match. You have Miro and Eddie Kingston. Really looking forward to this match. Miro is undefeated. Eddie Kingston is just a badass in the ring. I don't know if it's going to be a technical wrestling masterpiece, but it should be a highly entertaining match. I'm always entertained by Kingston's work, and Miro, this character that he has in AEW, is really suited for him, and I really am entertained by it. So I think this is going to be a good, entertaining match. This is hard to call for me because I think Eddie Kingston could use a title to elevate him a little bit, but I don't see it happening quite just yet. I'm going to go with Miro to retain. Next up is the match that I think is going to steal the show. It's the steel cage match for the AEW World Tag Team Championship between the Young Bucks against the Lucha Brothers. The Lucha Brothers winning a tag team tournament to get this opportunity. It is in the steel cage. So I think it's going to be, you're going to see a lot of high spots off the cage. These teams are amazing at high flying. The Young Bucks are awesome. The Lucha Brothers, awesome. I'm sounding like the Miz here, but I think it's going to be an excellent show-stopping match. It's going to be hard to live up to, and whoever has to follow this is really going to have their hands full, because I think this is going to be a superb match that I'm really looking forward to. As far as the winner goes, I'm going to go with the Young Bucks to retain. I think they're going to ride this heel run for a while. I think, the Elite, the faction with Kenny Omega, Don Callis, I think they're going to run with that for a long time. So I don't see a title switch here. I'm going to go with the Young Bucks to retain. Next up is the singles match for the AEW World Women's Championship. Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, taking on Chris Statlander in what should be an awesome match. I really like the women's division in AEW. They put on excellent matches. They have a plethora of talent that they utilize really well. But Britt Baker is so over right now as champion that there's no way that they're going to make this title switch here. It's going to be an excellent match. I'm sure there's going to be some, near falls by Statlander, but Britt Baker, she should not lose right now. She is riding this wave of momentum for a long time, or at least she should. So I'm going to go with DMD, Dr. Britt Baker, to retain the title here. And personally, I know I mentioned the steel cage tag team match as the one I'm looking forward to. This one is I'm looking forward to just as much, if not maybe a little bit more. It's the return of CM Punk against Darby Allin, the match that everybody is talking about. This match is going to be an instant classic. I'm putting it on the record right now. This match is going to be an instant classic. Dare I say it might be one of AEW's best matches. I don't know if it's going to quite top the Dustin and Cody match from Double or Nothing in 2019, because that match is one of the best matches I've ever seen. But it could be close, and it could be right up there. I'm really predicting that this is going to be an excellent match. I don't see how they make CM Punk lose here, though. So it might be a tad predictable to me, which maybe takes away a little bit from it. The factor for me, though, is Sting. Sting came out on Dynamite this week and said that he's going to just, shake his partner's hand and go to the back. Does that mean he's setting up for something? Is he going to turn on Darby and make Punk win? It's hard because Darby is a guy that it's hard to beat Darby. But I think he can take a loss. He's lost before. He's lost the TNT title before. And I don't think losses hurt him, especially when you lose to a guy of CM Punk. So I would like to see a clean finish here. I'm just a little weary about Sting and what they're going to do with Sting here. Because I thought it was maybe a little suspicious that Sting cut that promo that he's going to go to the back. Does that mean he's really going to attack Darby? Really going to get involved in this match somehow? Who knows? I think Darby can take a loss either way, clean or with some shenanigans going on, and it won't hurt him. If anything, it could set up a feud between Darby and Sting, and we would all want that. At least I do. So I'm going to go with Punk here for the win, and I'm going to make a bold prediction here that this is going to be a barn burner, instant classic, maybe top 5 match that AEW's ever had so far. Next up is a singles match for the AEW World Championship. It's the last match to discuss here, and it is Kenny Omega, the champion, versus Christian Cage. Again, this is going to be an excellent match. Christian Cage has been phenomenal since returning from the ring. Kenny Omega is an excellent all-out worker, pardon the pun there. I know there's been rumors that he wants to take some time off. So they, you might be leaning towards losing the title here. I'm going to go with Kenny Omega retaining for the simple fact Christian Cage took the Impact title for him on Rampage, the debut episode of Rampage, not too long ago. So I think it's a little predictable here that Kenny Omega is going to retain. Here's some things to consider. Is Don Callis and Elite going to get involved? And the big rumor, Bryan Danielson, Daniel Bryan, whatever you want to call him, is he going to get involved in this match? If he makes his debut, it could be during this match. It could be after this match, like Moxley made his debut after the main event at Double or Nothing in 2019. So is the Daniel Bryan factor going to impact the outcome? So that's just a couple of things to think about, going into the match. But I'm going to go with Omega to retain. So those are my picks for AEW All Out. Should be an excellent, excellent pay-per-view. Really looking forward to it. We will, discuss AEW All Out in next week's episode. But we're also going to go circle back to our 05 rundown of TNA. It is Unbreakable 05. That's next up on the order of TNA pay-per-views for 2005 for us to cover. So we're looking forward to that. You guys seem to really like the TNA specials that we've been doing once a month. So we are going to continue with that. And until next week, I'm Tim Kurt, and this is Wrestling with Wrestling Past and Present.
I hope you're all having a nice day.